Hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of Koopafantasy. I am Koopafantasy, and this video is my Week 5 Sit 'em Stardom for the 2012 NFL Fantasy Football season. You can find all my videos here on my YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe, share it with your friends, that would be amazing. You can find my articles online at Koopafantasy.com, that's my blog, Koopa fantasy.com. And finally, you can find me on Twitter at @Blackie_Mike. Hit me up on Twitter anytime you want to ask me any questions, fantasy football related. I'm very active and love getting into arguments, conversations, debates, and all that kind of stuff. Alright guys, let's get into it. My Week 5 Sit 'em Stardom for the 2012-2013 season. First up, Andy Dalton. He's graced my Sit Stardom list just 2 weeks ago, and he came through with a great performance, and I'm hoping he does so the same this week. He's a great matchup against Miami, my Dolphins, and even I can't deny how good he's been and how bad Miami's secondary's been, and I'm pretty sure they got a couple guys injured going into this week's matchup, so it looks even better for Dalton than it would usually. And if you're not convinced, take a look at some of the guys that Dalton's outperforming so far in fantasy football. You'd be surprised at some of the names you're going to see. And then moving on to some of the running backs, you should start Kendall Hunter. I was going to put Frank Gore in this spot, but I had him there last week. I think it's a bit too obvious. He's a bit too much of a stud, so I'm going to go with his backup. San Fran plays the Bills, who were just ran over completely by the New England Patriots last week. So if you need a running back, a running RB2, RB3, or a flex, look for Kendall Hunter to get some touches playing behind Frank Gore in a matchup that should be a steamroll for the 49ers against the Bills. All right, next running back, Ben Tate. Kind of the same thing here as with Hunter. It's a team with two quality running backs going into an amazing matchup. Last week, the Jets were embarrassed by the 49ers, aforementioned team. And now this week, they get the Texans, probably an even better run team with an amazing defense as well. And I'm pretty sure that Ben Tate is going to find, they're going to find room for him to get at least 10 touches this game. All right, moving on to Reggie Bush. He was a disappointment last week, but was coming off an injury, so it wasn't the worst idea to try sitting him anyways. And this week against the Bengals defense, they struggle against the run, so I'm pretty sure Reggie Bush is going to be able to get you a 100-yard game, whether using his legs or catching the ball and going from there. So expect the Dolphins to use Reggie Bush a lot in this matchup. On to wide receivers, Brandon Stokely for the Patriots. He's got a nice going against the Patriots. He has a very nice matchup. Patriots are very giving to opposing QBs and wide receivers. So look for the veteran Brandon Stokely to sneak in, maybe like an 80-yard game and a TD possibly. Peyton Manning likes this guy. They're both veterans, and I think he's going to sneak in a few good plays and possibly a touchdown. All right, Malcolm Floyd, Charger wide receiver. He's got an amazing matchup this week going against the Saints. The Saints are horrendous on defense currently. The offense is the only reason they're even sticking close in any games. So start Malcolm Floyd this week if you have him. Like, it's a no-brainer to me. It's as good a matchup as he's going to have all year, and it's so good. I'm hoping that even Robert Meacham, who's been a complete bust in 2012, he might even have a good week and break out of his shell. And finally, on to tight ends, Kyle Rudolph. He was on my list last week as a stardom. He was a massive letdown, didn't even record a point. But I refuse to give up on this kid after just one bad week, especially when he's been so good the rest of the season. And he had such a juicy matchup against the Titans this weekend. No team has allowed more fantasy points to tight ends than the Titans. Granted, that is largely due to the 3 TD game Dante Rosario for the Chargers had against them a few weeks ago. But it's still a great matchup, and it's a great bounce-back game for a young, talented tight end in Kyle Rudolph. So look to start this kid if you got him. All right, on to the sit-em list. From start last week, the sit this week is Ryan Fitzpatrick. He was amazing last week in terms of fantasy with 30 points in my scoring in my league. 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. But the touchdowns easily outweigh, especially when you get 350 yards to go with it. But this week against the San Fran 49ers, who have been very rough against opposing QBs so far this year, I'm not expecting Ryan Fitzpatrick to cross 20 points. I'm expecting somewhere in the low teens. Running backs, BenJarvus Green-Ellis. The Dolphins are currently ranked number 1 against the run this year, so it's looking like it's going to be a tough matchup for BenJarvus Green-Ellis. If you got someone else, start this guy. It's going to be a big Andy Dalton day, not BenJarvus Green-Ellis for the Bengals. D'Angelo Williams, I'm not really a fan of starting Williams or Jonathan Stewart on any given week. That's way too much of a timeshare. Neither one of them seems to be supremely talented to carry the full workload, and they got a terrible matchup against the Seahawks, who've been one of the league's best defenses this year. So if you play D'Angelo or John Stewart in the regular, look for someone else this week. And finally, Fred Jackson. Alert, I have Fitzpatrick already on this sit list. So I have the QB and the starting running back from the same team on my sit list. You may think that's a bit risky. They got to get points and production from somewhere. But they are a terrible team right now, going against a team that just shut out the Jets. One of the best defenses in the league last 2 seasons. I'm just not expecting much from injured Fred Jackson and his quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick this week. All right, moving on to wide receivers. Deshaun Jackson, like Vincent Jackson, has for a time been a player that's either very boom or bust for you. They either give you great performances or they should have give you dud games. And in 2012, Jackson has done this so far. He's had a 77-yard game, sit-worthy. 114-yard game, start-worthy. A 43-yard game, sit-worthy. And now he's coming off a 99-yard game with a TD, very start-worthy. So if you catch my drift, he's going into a sit week. All right, Pierre Garçon. He didn't do a whole lot last week, and while owners are begging for this guy to come back strong like he did in week 1, where he had his 88 yards and a TD before getting injured, I don't think this is the week he does it. The Falcons have only allowed 2 touchdowns to wide receivers all year, and it's looking like it's going to be tough for Garçon to get a TD in week 5. So I'll look elsewhere for touchdowns. All right, and at tight end, Heath Miller. This is kind of sketchy for me. Heath Miller is a very talented tight end, very consistent, but it's a terrible matchup. The Eagles have been very rough against opposing tight ends this so far. So if you have another tight end available, you might want to roll with him instead of Heath Miller. All right, guys, that is it for my Week 5 sit 'em stardom video. I hope this helps you out. These are just suggestions. If you want to do a bit more research, look into these guys. My word is not gold. I'm trying to take some time out of my day, help you guys make the right decision, help you guys get some wins. Helping you bragging rights over your friends. That's what it's all about. Maybe some money here and there. Alright guys, like I said before, I am Koopafantasy. Thank you for watching my video. Please like and subscribe. That would be so amazing. Go to my blog, rate, comment, get in conversation, and most importantly, hit me up on Twitter. I love Twitter followers. I love getting comments on Twitter, getting asked questions. I'm very active, and I will gladly give you my opinion on there. Alright guys, Koopafantasy signing out. Peace.